Crap, I reincarnated as a Pokémon. Chapter 4. I woke up early the next morning. I had to pee. In hindsight, I probably could have just used the toilet, but as a Pokémon I thought that would be weird, which never bothered me before. What am I doing here? This was my chance to be a whole new me. I could be as weird as I wanted without having to listen to what other people wanted me to do. I had no longer had to go to school or do something I was half interested in. But I also couldn't be a professional gamer. However, now that I was trapped in the game, I could be a professional Pokémon. It would have to do. I trotted to the bathroom door, completely forgetting I didn't have thumbs. Being weird in the bathroom was a no-go. I was going to have to wake up Laura before I had made a mess in her room. I tackled Laura awake, landing on her face. She was not happy that I woke her up so early, but she eventually took the hint and carried me outside. Laura's family had a nice backyard with a white fence and single tree led up to Laura's window. It seemed like the best place to relieve myself and think about my future in the Pokémon world. As I neared the tree, I could smell something. It was alive. Whatever it was, it knew I was there. I looked up into the tree. The sun was rising, but whatever was up there was still hard to see. I managed to glimpse two glowing eyes on the branch next to Laura's window. Being piss-shy, I decided to say hello. Hello! Somehow that released the floodgates. I felt content.
Excuse me, said the Pokémon. Are you urinating?
I am. Feels great.
In front of me?
It sounded annoyed by my presence, as I was annoyed by it. Well, you don't have to watch me. It jumped down from the tree and landed on all fours. It was the same dark cat Pokémon I saw yesterday. A purrloin, if I recall from the one time I played that version. She looked at me with disgust, her fangs showing as her lips curled and her eyes narrowed. I suppose it was weird to carry on a conversation with a stranger while they were peeing and pooping, but I digress. In this form, the form of a rockruff, I had no shame, especially towards some stray cat. It wasn't an invitation for you to join me down on the ground, I said, finishing.
Well, it seemed proper to introduce myself, since we'll be seeing more of each other, said the purrloin.
Why's that? I shook myself. It looked at me with disgust.
I like your master.
Okay, I said. Do you want her to capture you? She said nothing. She just stared at me with her judging cat eyes. I really wanted to shove her face in my business, but then I remembered what I was thinking about before. This is a game. I could become a Pokémon Master, or rather help Laura become a Pokémon Master, and I would be her lead Pokémon. I knew this game, sort of. This was obviously a different version. I had no clue about my species except what I had learned from fighting the Pidgeot. Peni, Steadfast, Own Tempo, Vital Spirit, and Overcome. I had 5 special abilities. That was probably rare. I remember Pokemon having a max of 2 abilities. Maybe it had something to do with me being reincarnated. Her voice brought me back to the present.
I asked you a question.
Sorry, thinking, I said. Go ahead. She rolled her eyes.
What do you plan on doing with Laura?
That was an odd question. I just want to be the very best, like no one ever was.
I don't understand.
Purrloin blinked. Yeah, nobody does, I muttered. I want to go with her through the gym challenges and become a league champion. Again, her judging eyes came on me. What? I said. Isn't that what most trainers want? She said nothing. Then,
don't make her late to school. She's been very excited about graduation and bringing a Pokémon.
She walked away, jumped to one of the fence posts, and hopped over. What is she about? She could join Laura's team if she really wanted to, though I'm not sure her typing is what we need to be a viable team. I walked to the door and pawed at it. Laura let me in and fed me some Pokemon food. It was alright. About what I expected to get as a Pokemon. Hard, dry nuggets with beef flavor. Do they have cows in the Pokemon world? I guess they're Miltanks. Hiker Mark wished Laura luck as she walked out the front door and to school. I don't remember a whole lot of what happened in the middle because Laura zapped me into my Pokeball. But eventually I found myself at school. I sat on a desk at the front of the room. There were probably 20 other children in the room. Several also had Pokemon on their desks. Everyone sat politely except for one kid in the class. He looked like the designated bad boy. He had his head tilted up with a piece of straw out of his mouth. Who does that? As part of their final day of class, the teacher was allowing the students to introduce their Pokemon, if they had any, and what they planned to do after graduation. The bad boy went first. Gnawing on his straw, he introduced himself as Bilby. I snickered. Then he released his Pokemon from its Pokeball. It was a Bulbasaur, named Bulby. I snickered again. The Bulbasaur stared at me as I put my tail between my legs. Bulbasaurs are intimidating Pokemon. So much for my own tempo. Didn't help me one bit. My name is Bilby Rotterton, but y'all already know that. This is Bulby. Together, we're taking on the Pokemon League Challenge, and I'm going to become a Pokemon Master. I'll give him credit. For a 12-year-old boy, he certainly had the confidence. When I was his age, I hated talking in front of the class. Maybe he'll be our rival, like Gary Oak. The rest of the class stood up into the front of the room, and one by one introduced themselves and their Pokemon. Most, like Bilby, desired to become Pokemon Masters. Some were interested in becoming Pokemon Doctors, like Nurse Joy, and while I wondered how they could even do that when all I'd ever seen were Joys at the Pokemon Center, it was our turn. Laura trembled as she stood up. We hadn't known each other for very long, but it was obvious public speaking scared her.
This is my rockruff. I just got him yesterday, but I'm looking forward to taking him on a Pokemon journey and collecting badges and forming an all-star team for the Pokemon League Championship.
Silence. Your grades are worse than mine, and you suck at battling, said a dopey kid in the back of the classroom. Many of the other kids laughed.
All right, class, said the teacher. Show some respect. Many of you want to compete in Pokemon League one day.
Yeah, but Laura sucks, said the same kid.
She doesn't understand Pokemon typing at all, said another.
And she doesn't know which items that would make her Pokemon better, said Bilby. Wow, these kids are awful. I looked up at Laura, her head tilted down, and I could see a little trickle coming down her face.
Bilby, wait in the hall. Jared, Kyle, you too,
shouted the teacher. Dumb Bilby. Bilby and the other two stood up and left the room. I don't like that guy. I was zapped back into my Pokeball. I hate it. It's really disorienting. I'm going to have to convince Laura to stop doing it. But also, do I want to partner with Laura? She's not a bad kid, but I just met her yesterday. And all these crappy kids say she's a crap trainer. Can I trust that she can even form an all-star team? Next thing I know, I'm outside at the flagpole. Laura's behind me again. I look ahead of me, and it's Bilby, this jackass, with his damn Bulbasaur. Crap. You know your rockruff doesn't stand a chance against Bulby, said Bilby. I swear that name. Why? I can't help but snicker again.
You find something funny?
Said Bulby. It's so weird that I can understand everyone around me, including Pokemon. but the humans can't understand us. Your name is Bulby, I laughed again. I wonder what all of this sounds like to Laura.
I'm gonna vine whip the crap out of you,
said Bulby, unleashing his 2 vines from the bulb on his back. I smirked as best a puppy can. Where is this confidence coming from? I was the weird, shy, depressed kid that didn't think he deserved to live. Now I'm a Pokémon and my entire life changes? I like it.
Bulby, vine whip.
I stood there and waited for Laura's command. It didn't come. I turned back to look at her, only to see a scared and confused look on her face. Crap. Her vines came crashing onto my spot, but I dodged them. I looked back to Laura, but she still didn't say a word. I barked at her. She looked so unsure of herself. I felt bad, but... Can I really take on the Pokemon League with a trainer like her?
Even your Pokemon knows you're worthless. Give up. Try to find something you're good at, if there is anything.
This kid is a douchebag. He's very frickin' oak, alright. But I really don't want to see him again.
Vine whip!
The vine lashes whipped towards me. I dodged and countered with a sand attack. There was no way I was beating a Bulbasaur. This is why I dislike rock Pokemon. I'm not a fan of grass either, but at least Bulby has the advantage. But if I was going to win, I had to strike back. I rushed towards him and prepared a tackle attack.
Sleep powder.
Special ability, Vital Spirit, prevents you from falling asleep. I nearly forgot about Vital Spirit. I tumbled away and swiftly wiped the dust off my face. I am so OP. But now I need an ability to fight against Pokemon stronger than me.
Legendary ability, Overcome. When you are hit with a move that has a type advantage, a counter move will become available.
Is that what Overcome is? I stand corrected, I am officially OP.
Vine Whip! While it's distracted, said Bulby.
I've got to help Laura with her confidence. I can't do this by myself, can I? I look back at her. She looks terrified. She cut out for this? I let the Vine Whip hit. It hurt so much. I feel my HP lowering, but it stops suddenly.
Move used. Grass type Vine Whip,
said the voice.
Counter option is Fire Fang. Confirm?
Confirm. I leapt forward and sunk my fangs into Bulby's bulb, and as my teeth clamped down, a spark ignited and I felt the heat burn right into the grass Pokemon. Super effective. Fainted on the spot, I felt myself getting stronger. I must have gone up a level. Boy, was I tired though. Laura ran towards me and picked me up in her arms, cradling and cuddling me. It felt good, but Pokemon battles hurt a lot. Was I cut out for this? Thank you all for listening to Crap, I Reincarnated as a Pokemon, Chapter 4. If you'd like, please visit howitzer.com for more of my stories. Leave a like, consider subscribing, especially because there will be more crap coming your way. As always, good luck, have fun.